Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you AmberT versus Nicholas Fricke in the lower bracket round 2 of the 3rd Asia Pacific tournament. So today we're going to be seeing Carpiquet Duellists, and on the allied side we have AmberT with the Guards Armoured, and on the Axis side we have Nicholas Fricke with the 9th Panzer. So 9th Panzer was used by Nicholas Fricke previously to take on Chiganju, and he was successful in winning that game. So it looks like it's a division that he likes using, and on this map it can work relatively well due to the Marder 3s, of course. On the side of AmberT, it comes down to the use of Cromwell 6s at range, as well as the Cromwell 7. It can actually do relatively well with a bit of smoke cover on this map. But most of the strong play out of the Guards Armoured often comes down to the Humber Mark 3s, and also just a strong use of relatively cheap armour, especially considering how much income you get in Phase A and Phase B. Now, it's quite a funny story with the Humber Mark 3s because originally the Guards Armoured, nobody really saw their value because they lacked veterancy, but then an overall nerf to veterancy really brought them into the fray, and then everyone started using the Humber Mark 3s again, and really sort of utilising them well. But then Eugene saw that and they decided to nerf the Humber Mark 3s and remove their AP value. This was quite a while back. And then they introduced another patch where they brought the AP value back to the Humber Mark 3s, and now they are seen in competitive play all the time. It's just an interesting little story there about the Humber Mark 3s and how effective they can be. In this case, they're just really good about taking care of half tracks, and they also smash infantry to pieces with their high HE. So they got 8 HE on the main gun, as well as 8 HE on their machine gun. And there is a Stuart 6 up here. We've got a couple units of rifles and a 6-pounder with a dingo. For the mid, AmberT hasn't really put too much there, which is, in my opinion, a big mistake. You definitely need at least a couple of rifles just to hold the mid forwards, otherwise you're likely to lose to a salient there, and a +1 will fall in favour of Nicholas Fricke. Cromwell 7 has been brought in at the start, and I like its positioning behind the hangar. I think he's waiting to see what he's up against, and then he will play around that accordingly. He's brought up a 6-pounder to this bottom side as well. On the side of Nicholas Fricke, we've got a Panzer 1C pushing hard, alongside the Opal Blitz here. The Opal Blitz might get one shot, never mind, Panzergren's unloaded just in time. Panzer 1C, however, could take a shot from this Cromwell 7. It's in a really nice position at the moment, so that it can fire on anything that pushes too far, whilst it's not in line of sight of this Marder 3. But a 54% territory lead in favour of Nicholas Fricke. Look at this. That 251 half-track has just already made so much ground. And that is a huge mistake, not having at least one infantry unit, even in this tree line here, just like these trees. Either way, Panzer 1C goes down, Cromwell 7 takes care of that, stays in cover behind the hangar. Really nice play there from AmberT. We have the 251 dropping off the speed troop. They're going to be used to provide recon for Nicholas Fricke. His Marder 3 is of course sitting on the airfield, and we have another Marder 3 on the top side here. Now with this huge salient forming, it looks like Nicholas Fricke is going to try and take advantage of that. Well, I'm very surprised that this 251 isn't continuing into this salient, because to me that's pretty obvious, right? There is nothing between this 251 and this area here at least. So you could just drive into that very easily, and it looks like he's now going to go for it. That might lead him actually in range of the 6-pounder that could then remove this lead from him. In my opinion, just a normal move, that command there, straight into the salient would be a good idea, as you don't want to be probing the top and bottom sides of the map too much, since you know that's where all of AmberT's forces are. And here we go, 6-pounder, can he do the job? Not quite. Does have another shot, maybe? Oh no. Nicholas Fricke, why did you stop that fast move command? Allows the 6-pounder to get the kill. We'll close the salient for now. Unless this 251 can take advantage of it, of course. But yeah, definitely removed a lot of territory there, as you can see. +1 in favour of Nicholas Fricke. Now, in the way of AmberT on this top side is these Panzergrenz. There's also the Panzer II Lux up here now. And this Marder 3 is getting into position to help out on that side of things. We do see a couple units of infantry coming towards the mid here. They're going to try and hold this airfield. And then we have a 25 pounder following up. And that's going to start knocking on the doors of these Marder 3s, possibly try and pin them down. And then AmberT can make a play with the Cromwell 7. The other good thing about a 25 pounder is it can allow you to use smoke, which is really useful again in combination with the Cromwell 7. So I hope to see that throughout the game as well. Rifles here on return fire, I like that a lot. Stops this 251 from mowing them down if they reveal themselves when shooting at the Panzergrenz or Spears group, but the Cromwell 7 should be able to deal with that half track quite nicely. And if it gets forced to fall back with a direct hit, even if it doesn't get killed, the rifles will likely be able to surrender it. Especially when it's being aggressive rather than falling back. It looks like it's just trying to get into cover there, which is, I guess, absolutely fine. This 6 pounder can, however, roll forwards and take care of it. 25 pounder, going to be trying to counter battery the 251-2. ME109 G2BR21 has that 25 pounder in its sights. Could be a bit of a mistake to have this 25 pounder so far forwards, because that is an easy kill for the ME109 G2BR21. So yeah, not having this at least behind the trees here and out of direct line of sight really allowed the ME109 to get a decent shot on target. And yeah, big mistake there for AmberT. 6 pounder has been brought up to the mid here to help these rifles and motorized rifles make ground. That 6 pounder did take out the half track here. Going to leave these Panzergrenz pretty vulnerable to the M5 half track. ME109 coming in once again for the strafing run onto the 6 pounder this time. That's going to allow this Marder 3 to kill that off. The Marder 3 could kill it on its own, because obviously the Marder 3 has 1,200 meter range, whilst the 6 pounder only has 1,000 meter range. So that is an advantage that Nicholas Fricke can take advantage of in Phase A especially. The only thing that can match the range of the Marder 3s is the Cromwell 6s, and they don't have any AP value, so he doesn't have to worry about them too much. Now this ME109 has got sight onto this 6 pounder. I'm surprised that 6 pounder is not getting itself into a position to take out the 251. And I like the timing of this Tempest, because basically if Nicholas Fricke stays in the air with his ME109, it's going to run out of fuel in an engagement. So bringing in the Tempest pretty late is probably just because AmberT didn't have the points there, but still manages to get the kill. And that's really nice. M5 half tracks opening up onto the Panzergrenz. Only going to be a matter of time until they get pinned down and surrendered. So Tempest's going to be hitting this Marder 3 as hard as it can. But then is going to be getting out of there. You don't want to have them hanging around for too long, otherwise that gives your opponent the reason to save up for their own fighters, and then it turns into an air war, which doesn't really make you much ground, especially when you're behind. So in the case of AmberT, he wants to get rid of this +1 that Nicholas Fricke currently has, and that's mainly coming down to the airfield play here, but it looks like Nicholas Fricke is on top of this. He's not going to allow these Panzergrenz to get surrendered or even killed, because he's bringing in a Panzer II Lux to take care of the half track that's pinning them down at the moment. So really solid play there at the moment. 251-2 going to be mortaring the 6 pounder still. Stuart 6 going to try and take care of that half track on the bottom side. More infantry is needed here though, I believe, in order to try and get back positions in these trees. Really nice sort of two-prong attack there from the Stuart and the Cromwell to try and take care of this 251. Now the lack of veterancy, as you can see, makes those units rather inaccurate, but they will be able to get the kill eventually. And the 6 pounder there does eventually go down to the 251 as well. That's now 3-star, thanks to the Panzergrenführer. The Lux has come in. That is going to be aiming at the 6 pounder here. He's put it on a fire position command, as I assume he believed he would have the Panzer II or the 6 pounder moved into these trees. But instead AmberT calls his bluff and basically just comes out in the open, finds the kill there. That's going to allow this M5 half-track to go to work again. Marder 3 could be used in the centre a little bit more to help out with that engagement. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen for now, as I believe Nicholas Fricke seems to be rather worried about what's on the top side here. But if we jump to Nicholas Fricke's perspective, he does have the driving seat in this game at the moment. But he doesn't have too much information on what he's up against. I think ideally he wants to get this Marder 3 into a position where he can take on the Cromwell 7 or the Stuart 6, and then he can play around that either way. And one way you could do that is have the Marder 3 go for an engagement onto one of these tanks, and then smoke off the other one with the mortar. That would be a nice play. I would say the biggest issue here is the longer that Nicholas Fricke doesn't do anything, the more time it gives AmberT to figure out a way to come back. And that's not a good thing to do in this position. Marder 3 does get one shot on target, but the 11 armor there, finding the bounce. Panzer II Lux is going to be trying to cut off the forces on this top side, but the Stuart 6 has something to say about that. Going to be supported by this Dingo, so it does have the 1-star veterancy. Has plenty of armor to bounce the autocannon as well. Marder 3 is out of position now to cover that, so AmberT can take advantage of this positioning. And that's pretty much what it's all about at the moment for AmberT in this early phases. And we have just moved into phase B, so the income goes up quite considerably for both players. Stuart 6 is going to be pinned if that 20mm gets on target. Come on, Stuart 6, you can find a shot. Only needs to find one shot really on target to get the pin onto the Panzer II Lux. In this case, it looks like the Panzer II Lux is now targeting the Humber. Never mind. Panzer II Lux is advancing on the other side. This could be the chance for Nicholas Fricke to really make a solid breakthrough here. Just got to get the pin onto the Humber Mark III now. Maybe kill off this Dingo. It's all about just making ground. This Panzer II Lux is way too far away. He needs to just drive it close. Because one fantastic thing about the Panzer II Lux is they can shoot on the move. And taking advantage of that is very important. And not being hyper aggressive here by just having move commands towards these units may really come back to bite him, with the Stuart 6 now recovering and able to engage at 1000 meter range where he can only engage at 800 meter range. So I feel like that's a micromanagement of the Panzer IIs now, because look, he has to fall back. He can't afford that engagement anymore, and that is really bad news. Now these rifles are likely to go down because 2 Panzer II Lux on target. It's going to pin those very quickly, and there's no command to stop them surrendering, so they're going to go. Firefly 5C has been brought in. So this Firefly is going to be looking to deal with his Marder 3, and once he's done that, that's going to open up a lot of ground for the Stuart 6 and Cromwell 7 to find ground and clean up the other units. Stuart 6 does find a weapon jam onto one of the Panzer II Lux. Hammer Mark III is getting involved. Can the Stuart 6 find the kill? I don't think he will. It's going to fall out of line of sight. Focke-Wulf 190G3 coming in, assisted by the Focke-Wulf 190A8. Looks like Nicholas Fricke is going to be investing in Air Force in order to prevent the push out of AmberT, and I'm not convinced that that is the correct choice. Oh, that's a nice kill though. Stuart 6 goes down on this top side. That must have been to this Panzer II Lux at close range. Must have found just enough penetration chance to get that kill, because that is 700 meter range, maybe? That would be 5 AP versus 6 armor with like 2% penetration chance. I mean, that's pretty dire, but still managed to get the job done apparently, unless it was the Marder 3 sneaking forwards in the mid and finding the kill, but that's well out of range at the moment. Focke-Wulfs don't find a kill onto either of the Tempests here. Nope, they're both going to get out alive. Now this Firefly does get forced back for now. Cromwell 7 is going to continue its engagement with the Marder 2, but with the 2-star veterancy, Marder 3 is going to win out in that engagement. So a nice play to keep the Firefly from sort of skewing this engagement in favour of AmberT, and continuing to keep this Firefly pinned and falling back is a really nice opportunity for this Marder 3 to clean up some more units. Let's go to Nicholas Fricke's perspective. Yeah, he can see pretty much all of the units here. So the fact this Marder 3 is falling back whilst the Firefly is confuses me quite a lot. Why would you not just have the Marder 3 go for the engagement with the Stuart 6 at this point? Yes, the Stuart can kill the Marder 3, but in my opinion, it would be worth the risk, because if you kill the Stuart, then you can kill the Firefly. There's nothing else here to stop you. And the Speed Troop would spot any AT guns if there were any. So, I don't know, this play, it confuses me quite a lot. Panzer II looks, with that Stuart gone down, should be aggressive onto the Hummer Mark III. Maybe Nicholas Fricke didn't see it happen, because, again, another missed opportunity here. Like, this isn't like me watching from a spectator perspective and thinking, oh, you know, like, we're basically relying on what I can see. It's what he can see. He saw the Stuart 6 go down, and he knows the only other thing that was contesting him here was a Hummer Mark III. He's got infantry to reveal other infantry, so why would you not just be aggressive there? He's relying way too much on his air force. And again here, you don't need a Focke-Wulf 190 to make a 2-star Marder 3 win against the Stuart 6 with no veterancy. So this Firefly's back online, since that wasn't taken advantage of. This Focke-Wulf 190 still has bombs though. We'll be able to pin it down a little bit, but not too much. Tempest, however, has now got on the back of that Focke-Wulf. There is a SDKF Z71, and that's going to cause this Tempest to get shot down. Focke-Wulf 190G3 is going to do the job there. Be very surprised to see this Tempest get away. And the Tempests are faster than the Focke-Wulfs. Oh, the Crusader AA Mark 1 saving the day. Wow. Can't believe that Tempest didn't die. That is pretty lucky, actually. Now, this Tempest is going to be looking for a kill onto this Focke-Wulf 190G3, but with that turn, it's probably not going to find the kill. ME109 GTBR-21 has been brought in, and like I said before, it's just kind of turned into this air battle. Because Nicholas Fricke hasn't been very aggressive on the ground. There is just such a big opportunity on this top side, which he is not taking advantage of. And those Speed Troop, well, they can see where this Hummer Mark III is, right? Why would you not just attack that? Like I said, with the stabilizer on the Panzer II Lux, where it can fire on the move, you could quite simply just put a normal move command past this tree line, and as it drives past, it gets on target to the Hummer Mark III, destroys it, and carries on. That's all you need to do. Whereas the Hummer Mark III will be sat there trying to get on target the whole time. So now the Marder 3 in the middle of the airfield is trying to engage the Firefly, but the Firefly, this is a second Firefly that's been brought up in the meantime. Nicholas Fricke has all the information he needs, but here, Fireflies, finally just going to take advantage of this Marder 3, destroy it very easily, and now these Fireflies are pretty much free to just charge forwards, assisted by the Stuart 6, which can rip to shreds infantry in half tracks, and the Panzer II Lux. So, Nicholas Fricke, your aircraft aren't really helping you right now. You can have all of the aircraft in the world, but it is not going to help you gain ground. especially if your forces on the ground are mostly dead. In this case, even the AA that would have saved the Focke-Wulf from this engagement is now dead, and now our 2 aircraft. Now this Firefly, if it does get hit, can be forced to fall back here. But if that Firefly lands a shot on target on the Marder 3, well, that's going to fall back as well. Now I find it interesting how it was Nicholas Fricke's idea to throw the smoke there, when that Firefly was so close to falling back. Yes, the other one is heading in his direction now, but still, that Marder 3, if it's going to use smoke, may as well run away, right? This Tempest so close to shooting down that Focke-Wulf. SDKFZ's going to stop that from happening, though. Oh, there we go. Marder 3. Starting to try and fall back. It's going to be covered by the smoke from the Panzergrenadier. But for how long? New Marder 3 has arrived. The reliance on these Marder 3s isn't bad, as long as you aren't scared to utilize them properly. And in this case, this Firefly especially, the one with the 1-star veterancy, should have been dead by now in my opinion. If you're going to use 2 bombers to try and make it fall back, then you've got to be aggressive with the Marder 3 to get that kill. Or at least be aggressive enough to find kills onto other targets while the Firefly's not there, and neither of those things happened. Tempest, going to shoot down another Focke-Wulf. All of these points that have been invested into these aircraft is now null and void, because there is nothing to stop AmberT from killing the AA that Nicholas Fricke has. And that's just like, I don't know, it's both misallocation of points and also just misplays. Again, there's still opportunity in the top side. Nicholas Fricke should be looking at that now that he's losing in the bottom side. Like, this is a solid time when, hey, oh, you know, I'm losing on the bottom side, I've got to make ground elsewhere. You know, like, that's what you got to do. And it looks like it actually is. Finally, going to move some of these units. Going to be revealing these rifles if he gets close. I'm not sure what he's scared of. A lot of the infantry on the side of the guard's armor doesn't have AT, so to me that's odd. Typhoon AT, 2-star Typhoon AT does get shot down by the ME-109 and the Focke-Wulf 190G3, but it does kill the Marder 3. And now that's going to leave 3 Fireflies against 1 Tiger, unless AmberT allows the Firefly to be engaged singularly by this Tiger. That's the one way that AmberT could lose this lead, is if he allows his Fireflies to get picked off one by this Tiger. Now the Tiger can of course lose an engagement to a Firefly quite easily, because the Firefly has more than enough AP to kill a Tiger, and vice versa. There goes the command. It was a bit of a shame that was ahead of the rest of the Fireflies, but there we go. There's a very good chance that AmberT here could just overwhelm this Tiger so easily. Here we go. Not behind cover. Won't be anytime soon. So many shots going to be coming in. Even the Stuart's going to get involved. At least one of those was going to hit, wasn't it? Internal fragment there for the Tiger E. Really good hit. Stuart is going to be forced to fall back by the bombers. But in comes the Tempest once again. And, well, yes, he may pin down one of the Fireflies, but there are too many. And that Tempest is going to find another kill. Somehow, this Humber Mark III has managed to defeat the Panzer II Lux. It looks like AmberT just took the initiative there. The Panzergrens are going to find the Panzerfaust kill. There's a weapon jammed Panzer II Lux and a track well destroyed Panzer II Lux. Supply needs to be brought in on the top side. I guess he needs to resupply this Tiger E as well. Maybe he could resupply that and then get the Opel Blitz to zoom up to the top. But he is in a pretty bad position right now. As soon as infantry gets into buildings on your side of the runway, you're kind of screwed. Because it's really, really hard to dislodge those infantry once they're there. And that's exactly what's happening to Nicholas Fricke right now. The +2 in favour of AmberT. He's counting up the points to victory. Nicholas Fricke has not given up though. Good to see that he thinks he has a chance. Tiger E is coming in to reinforce, but this one that got internal fragment is dead. This Opal Blitz left out in the open. Things are just definitely falling apart. And I can't really see things lasting too much longer. 6-pounder. Going to be taking out this Panzer II Lux. Just none of this stuff's being micro properly. I think Nicholas Fricke is really relying on this Tiger now to make a difference. And maybe the 3-star veterancy will do the job. You can pop that, stew it, easy peasy. ME-109 GTBR-21. Can it find the hit onto these Fireflies? I mean, there is 2 Crusader AA Mark 1s here. Personally, I like the ones with the higher rate of fire since they can actually shoot down aircraft, but in this case, I think AmberT just wants to keep them away at range, stop those bombing strikes from being accurate, and therefore pinning down his units. But yeah, these rifles have just made a lot of ground. 6-pounder is being forced back by the 258 here. Where is this Lux going? I think the Opal Blitz, that really needs to just get to the top side of the map. He needs to identify that fixing up these Panzer II Lux would be a really good way to make some ground. But AmberT has now found a counter to that, which is of course his Sherman 5 here. And it's going to be very hard for these Lux to push past a Sherman 5. So a +3 in favour of AmberT now. 9 minutes and 40 seconds until victory. Fireflies are being very cautious. But once they take out the second Tiger, that is pretty much the only unit that the 9th Panzer has left that could contest this blob. Because the thing is with the 9th Panzer is their armor is very limited in the late game. They're not like some of the other Panzer divisions which have Panthers and so on. No, their best units are these Tigers, the 3-star Tigers. And if these Tigers don't do well, then you're in a really bad position as the 9th Panzer. Now he's trying to sneak forwards here for a one-on-one. Might work out, but the Fireflies are getting in position. He's got to be cheeky and try and take those one-shots. In that case, didn't work out. But worth trying for sure. Now this Sherman has cleaned up the tracked Panzer II. Sherman 5 going to be able to kill off this 258. We'll also be killing off the Panzer II Lux. And the response here to bring in 2 Panzer 1Cs is odd to me, for sure. But the Marder 3 is a nice choice. So maybe he's hoping that the Marder 3 can find the kill onto the Sherman and then he can use the Panzer 1Cs more aggressively to make back ground. With a second Sherman 5 on the way, that could get difficult. So Tiger once again pushing up quite aggressively. It looks like the engagement here has caused a Firefly to go down. Can this Tiger be the hero that Nicholas Fricke needs? Because he certainly needs something to change at this point. New Firefly is on its way from AmberT. Killing the command there is a nice start. 2 versus 1. Let's go. Fireflies, can they do the job? Oh, wow. 17-pounder from the bottom side. Going to be beating the Fireflies to it. And that is surely the last hopes of Nicholas Fricke out of the window with that death. I mean, the only unit now that he has that can hold back units at range is the Marder 3, and it's not going to hold back Fireflies, and it's not going to hold back 17-pounders. Panzer II Lux, can it kill off this 6-pounder in time? 6-pounder will have one more shot, I think. Panzer II looks going to be able to get the kill, I think. Or at least pin it down before it fires. Yeah. Now this Panzer II looks could make some ground back. Panzer 1Cs can demolish any rifles that get close. So Nicholas Fricke just putting an attack beacon there onto the 17-pounder. I really like the way that AmberT was patient in Phase A. He didn't get too aggressive. He allowed himself to be at a +1 deficit. And now he's making it back very quickly indeed. This Panzer 1C is really going ham. Not for long. Couldn't get tracked. Just out of line of sight though. This Marder looking for the shot onto the Sherman. But is within the 1,000 meter range, which... it's a little bit of a mistake in my opinion. Coming down would be a better way to do it. You don't want to be matching the range of the Shermans. Looks like instead Nicholas Fricke going to be trying to deal with that through aircraft. But unlikely to happen in this case. Oh, bombs coming down there with the rocket strike onto 17-pounder in the end. But I feel like that's 2 dead aircraft. Sherman 5 finishes off a second Panzer 1. Marder 3 is going to have to do this engagement on its own. There goes 1 plane, there goes 2 planes. Nicholas Fricke's reliance on these planes, it worked out well early on. But he didn't play into it. And here we see the Sherman 5. He got 2 shots off before this Marder 3 fired 1. That's a weapon jam. Can't reverse out of range. Might just be able to get out of line of sight. Why is that Sherman didn't fire a 3rd shot? Maybe a little bump in the ground there. Yeah, I think this bump he couldn't fire through, obviously. And that was technically breaking his line of sight, even though it wasn't hard cover. That's the thing with the C-tool. Sometimes it's a little bit inaccurate due to deformation in the terrain. But that Sherman 5 finishing off the Panzer 2 there. The motorized rifles were running them down. Sherman 5 now going to surely clean up this Marder 3. Marder 3 can't do anything because it's weapon jammed. And, oh, there's half-tracks on its way. Firefly is now pushing in towards the town. The only thing really standing in the way of these Fireflies now is a Panzer 4. And the Panzer 4s can be very strong in Phase B. But with AmberT investing straight into the Fireflies, it definitely takes away that opportunity for the 9th Panzer to play around the Panzer 4s. In this case though, nice positioning from the Panzer 4 is going to allow a cheeky shot onto the Firefly. But Firefly is going to find internal fire with 1 shot. That Panzer 4, 14 AP versus 11 armor, definitely has a chance at the 1,000 meter range to do a lot of damage. Hummel has also been brought in. That's going to be trying to get rid of the 17-pounder. But I think Nicholas Fricke really just on damage control. He can't do anything about this. And, I mean, it's pretty certain he's going to lose at this point. Maybe whilst the Tiger was still alive, there was a chance that if he picked off each Firefly individually, he could come back. But it didn't happen in the end due to the 17-pounder. Panzer 2 going down here as well. There is like so much ground for AmberT to advance on this top side. Jeep's the only thing that's going to be dying for now. There has been a sod brought up, which is interesting. Panzer 4 staying hidden. Does manage to get a weapon jam onto the Firefly. Nice hit. Nice hit indeed. Firefly's got to get the hell out of there now. And that's actually going to force AmberT to bring in some supply, most likely, to fix that up. So now 75% territory lead. +4 on the board. AmberT wins the game in 2 minutes. Can a blob of Panzer 4s make the difference? Nicholas Fricke's really got to hope that he can make some ground with these. But I don't think there'll be enough time for him to win anyway. I mean, at this point, it's like 2,100 points in favour of AmberT. There is 6 minutes, 40 seconds left on the entire game. And even if, at this point, for whatever reason, Nicholas Fricke managed to get 50-50, he would have a long way to go to make back those points before the end of the game. Let alone stop AmberT from winning before he found the 50-50 in the first place. It looks like Nicholas Fricke is just adamant not to go out of the tournament here, because if he loses, he is going to be knocked out of the tournament. AmberT will be continuing to round 3. Pretty certain there's no more chance. And what did I tell you guys all the time? 1 health AT guns are the deadliest. Killing his Panzer IV there. Hummel. Not going to be able to find the kill. Must be devastating this late in the game. Just to lose those engagements. Firefly 5C is going to be forced back by the Panzer IV. And that Panzer IV is going to find a kill. Sherman 5 going to be crushing the dreams of that Panzer IV though. On the very top side, Sherman 5 taking on the Panzer IIC. Panzer 1C also struggling. And since this Panzer IV is on an attack move order, it's actually going to allow this Firefly to recover. And I'll tell you what, if that Panzer IV dies now, that would have been tragic. But game coming to an end after 34 minutes and 52 seconds as AmberT reaches the conquest victory. And yeah, I think a tale of missed opportunities on the side of Nicholas Fricke. On the side of AmberT, very nice patience. He didn't let the air forces get the better of him. He didn't overinvest into the air forces early on like Nicholas Fricke did. And that allowed him to gain such an advantage later on due to the Fireflies. The 3,480 kills to 1,655 losses in the end for AmberT. On the side of Nicholas Fricke, obviously opposites. Kills here, Cromwell 7. Didn't do particularly well before it got killed, but definitely provided a lot of presence on the bottom side and stopped the pushes from coming through. Tempest killed lots of planes. Look at these Focke-Wulf 190s going down in the Me-109 G2 BR-21s. Firefly 5C takes out 2 Marder 3s of Panzer II Lux. Very nice. Really good kills actually from the Firefly. Didn't necessarily pay itself off too much, but killed the important units. Another Tempest getting a couple kills there. This Firefly not doing great, but came in probably late. This was a Sherman 5 that went onto the top side. Fantastic job by that one. In terms of losses, well, let's see. Nicholas Fricke killed quite a lot with his Panzer II Lux here. That Me-109 killing the 25-pounder, that was a mistake from AmberT early on. Allowing that to be in direct line of sight of recon rather than behind a tree line is a big mistake. You shouldn't really do that if you can help it. And in this case, I thought he could. Marder 3 did find the kill onto the Cromwell 7. This Tiger had the chance to maybe bring things back, but didn't in the end. And yeah, both the Tigers went down. And that was pretty much the end of the game for Nicholas Fricke. So, there you have it. Hopefully, guys have enjoyed this one. I'm going to have to go sort out my dog. Sorry if you guys can hear that. But in the meantime, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Nicholas Fricke is going to be dropping out of the tournament. Commiserations to him. AmberT is going to be moving on to round 3. I'll see you in the next game, guys. Goodbye.